earthquakes, Yellowstone danger zone. Matter of fact, it's not just Yellowstone. Yellowstone has been hit with 2 earthquakes here in the last 10 minutes. A 3.4 hit right on this super volcano, Yellowstone, Montana. And then, about 5 minutes after that, a 2.9 in Livingston, Montana. Right there, Yellowstone, the danger zone, the super volcano is alive. It's awake. And everyone knows it. Even now, mainstream and lamestream media did an article on it today on Yahoo News, realizing that we're in a acute situation. 1,562 earthquakes between June the 12th and August 3rd. That's more than we normally see up there in a year. And that was already way more than we should be seeing. So this thing is shaking and quaking. And the signs are something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. And then we, of course, had a 4.6 earthquake in Brookings, Oregon. Very, very shallow as well. The earthquake in Brookings, Oregon, 4.6, only 23.4 kilometers deep. But the Yellowstone, and that's right on the Cascadia fault line. That's right on the Cascadia fault line. There was originally tsunami watch, but that has passed. But Yellowstone, the first one right at West Yellowstone, Montana, 6 kilometers. What? 6 kilometers. And then the second one, 21.8 kilometers. It is the movement of the magma. It is the lava. It is it's on fire. This is it. Somebody needs to understand we're in the last days. Please. Well, Joel 2 said there'd be blood and fire and vapors of smoke. And the sun would be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. And we're getting all those blood moons, solar eclipses, constellations of revelation, earthquakes, volcanoes, super volcanoes, extreme weather conditions, dead cows. I mean, are you serious? Don't miss tonight's Prime Time Live. I'll be live at 10 p.m. Eastern at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com, at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. Also, a new live stream, Roku satellite television, Blog Talk Radio, YouTube Live, Periscope, everywhere, everywhere, tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, Primetime Live. The apocalypse is upon us. Are you seeing?
Carbon was discovered by researchers in May of this year, running under 15 states in the western U.S. The release of only 1% of it would be equal to all the oil humanity has burned for the last 65 years. The release valve for the huge reservoir of carbonate magma is the supervolcano at Yellowstone. In early June of this year, a series of earthquakes numbering in the hundreds began to rumble through Yellowstone National Park in a phenomenon known as a swarm. An increase in seismic activity can mean that a volcanic eruption is about to take place. A normal volcano has the shape of a cone built up from repeated eruptions. A supervolcano has too large an area to support a cone. Instead, it leaves a caldera, a depression in the earth, like a crater. The Yellowstone caldera is almost half the size of the national park itself. An eruption at Yellowstone would cover most of the United States with ash. Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana would be buried in several feet of ash, resulting in death for 28 million inhabitants. A massive amount of sulfuric mist would also be ejected, changing our global weather. The acidic aerosol would remain in the atmosphere for years, screening out sunlight, causing temperatures to drop all over the planet, killing crops for many seasons. It has been prophesied by Mark Taylor that a sign like this will be given. Retired fireman and respected clairvoyant, Mark Taylor successfully predicted the presidential election. He also foresaw a volcano that will spring forth from the depths. Yellowstone Park geologist Dr. Henry Heisler said that a super eruption would follow within 2 weeks when area earthquakes reached a magnitude of 4.5, which has already happened. Heisler said also that changes in geyser activity would precede the volcanic explosion. Black smoke has been rising from the park's most famous geyser, Old Faithful. This means that rocks are melting underground. One day late in June, Old Faithful violated its well-known pattern when it discharged boiling, steaming water 2 times in a row instead of once. Large numbers of animals, bison and elk, have been seen leaving the park in recent weeks. This exodus has been confirmed by park authorities, who have no explanation other than the uncanny ability of some animal species to anticipate natural disasters such as earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Many local landowning ranchers are leaving too, after being frightened by strange behavior among their own livestock. The federal government has a massive evacuation plan for the worst-case scenario, which until recently was kept secret. When the Yellowstone supervolcano erupts, millions of United States citizens could end up in Brazil and Argentina, 2 countries which have each accepted a payment of $10 billion to provide temporary refugee housing for displaced Americans. As the United States Geological Survey tracks the earthquake swarms, which are moving nearer to the Yellowstone caldera, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration has been mobilized to monitor the site from above. In addition to satellite imagery, NASA is now flying over the national park on a regular basis. With SOFIA, the world's largest airborne observatory. The jet aircraft is normally used for astronomical observation, but NASA has turned its infrared cameras toward Earth to capture images of the growing lake of red-hot magma in the Earth's mantle under the state of Wyoming. Just this past week, a massive chasm in the ground has opened up next to the Yellowstone caldera. The federal government is contemplating yet another misguided strategy to release the pressure of the rising magma by detonating a small nuclear device on top of the dome at Sour Creek, one of the known weak spots in the caldera of the supervolcano.